Imagine this for a moment. A 16-year-old commits a brutal act of violence. A fair life is lost, and a family is shattered. And yet, by the age of 21, the offender walks free, not because the crime was minor, because justice was served, but because the offender was tried in juvenile court. Now ask yourself, is this justice? And if the victim had been your sibling, best friend, or your child, will you still believe in the system worked fairly? This is the uncomfortable reality of how our juvenile justice system currently handles even the most severe crimes. While the principle of innocent until proven guilty remains fundamental, I argue that when juveniles commit crimes such as murder, armed violence, or serious drug offences, they should not be shielded from accountability simply because of their age. Too often, juvenile law becomes less about protecting rights and more about protecting offenders from consequences. Communities are left exposed, victims are silenced, and dangerous individuals are given repeated opportunities to harm again. When the stakes are this high, leniency becomes negligence. As a member of society, all of us share one basic expectation: safety. We want to feel secure in our neighborhoods, confidence in our justice system, and assured that those who commit serious crimes are held responsible. These issues matter to everyone, not only because any of us could become victims, but because unpredictable behavior among youth is increasing, especially under the influence of social media and peer pressure. If serious juvenile offenders are tried as adults, at the very least, justice can be seen and felt by the victim families, and communities can regain trust in the system meant to protect them. My interest in this issue became deeply personal when I encountered a shocking news report in my own country. A 16-year-old student was stabbed to death by a 14-year-old schoolmate inside a place meant for learning and safety. I was shocked. Schools should nurture futures, not become scenes of violence. What troubled me further was the realization that despite the severity of the crime, the offender could almost certainly avoid adult trial. That moment compelled me to examine whether our justice system truly serves justice or merely excuses it. This brings me to my central argument today. Juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults because the lack of accountability in the juvenile justice system contributes to rising crime rates, increases reoffending, and poses a serious threat to public safety. To address this, legislative reform and preventive awareness campaigns must be implemented. So, let's begin by examining the root of the problem: rising juvenile crime and the lack of accountability with juvenile trial systems that is corrupted. During adolescence, making mistakes is part of a growing up. Many of these mistakes are minor and forgivable. However, some actions such as murder, sexual assault, or armed violence are irreversible. In such cases, offenders may knowingly exploit the juvenile justice system, fully aware that lighter sentences and rehabilitation focused outcomes awaits them, even if they possesses the mental maturity to understand their actions. As a result, juvenile involvement in violent crimes has increased. According to the Council of Criminal Justice, juvenile homicide rates rose by 65% between 2006 and 2022, and overall offending among youth aged 10 to 14 increased by 9%. Yet under current laws, even those who commit the most serious crimes are often restricted to juvenile courts. Originally, the juvenile system was designed to prioritize rehabilitation over punishment, recognizing difference in brain development and impulse control. While this approach is appropriate for minor offenses, critics argue that whether severe crimes are met with minimal consequences, accountability is lost. In such cases, leniency does not rehabilitate, it incentivizes misconduct. This public expects justice, and when the system fails to deliver it, trust erodes. This lack of accountability does not only affect offenders, it endangers everyone else. When juvenile commit serious crimes without facing adult-level consequences, the impact is twofold. First, public confidence in the justice system weakens. When people see violent offenders receiving what appears to be second chance after destroying lives, faith in fairness diminishes. Second, the deterrent effect of the law disappears. If young offenders believe punishment is mild, crime becomes calculated risk. Research supports this concern. A study conducted by Jacqueline Monique Nelson in youth detention centers in Georgia found that 65% of the juveniles reoffended within 3 years of release. This alarming rate highlights a revolving door problem. Offender cycles in and out of the system, committing increases severe crimes and placing communities at a constant risk. Ask yourself this: will you sleep peacefully knowing that someone who commit a violent offense is back in your neighborhood, potentially planning their next crime? This cycle reoffending transforms legislative loopholes into real threats to public safety. Despite these troubling consequences, solutions do exist, and they must be implemented urgently. The answer is not to treat all juveniles as adults, but to reform the law to those that only those who commit the most serious crimes are eligible for adult trials, accompanied by strict safeguards. Crimes such as murder, sexual violence, armed robbery, and terrorism-related acts warrant a different level of response. Several jurisdictions have already taken steps in this direction. In Kentucky, legislation has been passed allowing juveniles charged with gun-related offenses to be transferred to adult courts. In India, authorities must decide whether 10 days whether offenders aged between 16 and above have accused of heinous crimes should be tried as adults or not. However, safeguards are essential. Courts must assess mental maturity, understanding of consequences, nature of the crime, and prior recourse before transferring a case. This ensures fairness while maintaining accountability. Beyond legal reform, prevention is equally important. Education and awareness campaigns in schools can expose the youth to the real consequences of violent crimes, reinforcing deterrence and encouraging responsible decision-making. By combining accountability with education, tragedies can be prevented before they occur. Now, as we reach this end of discussion, let us reflect on what we have learned. Juvenile crime is rising, in a part due to a lack of accountability with the juvenile justice system. This leniency enables reoffending, places communities at risk. To address this, we must advocate for legislative reforms that allow serious juvenile offenders to be tried as adults with proper safeguards and promote awareness programs that discourage criminal behavior among youths. I urge you, as responsible members of society, to take action. Support petitions calling for legal reform, and do participate in community dialogues and awareness initiatives. Engage with young people, listen to them, guide them, and help them prevent them from reaching a breaking point. Today, we stand at a crossroads. The safety of our communities and the credibility of our justice system are at stake. We cannot continue allowing age to become a shield for those who commit deliberate and violent crimes. Every time justice is diluted, we send a message that victims' pain is secondary and public safety is optional. That is not justice. True justice demands courage, balance, and accountability. When a crime carries adult-level consequences, the response must reflect that reality. Our future depends on a justice system that protects the innocent, not the one that excuses the violent. And thank you.